How's it going, troops? Welcome to another video in our tutorial series. This week we're going to be covering the basics of room entry. Now, there are many other videos, JPEGs and discussions on this subject already out there, and we're by no means saying that the tactics we'll show you in this video are the only way it should be done. There's many factors which will determine which approach you use when entering a building, so please look upon what we'll show you here as one possible method and adapt that as you wish. For this scenario, we're assuming a standard team of 4 clearing a single room. We'll go into some other formations and techniques in different videos. Our team of 4 will set up as follows whilst moving through the corridors of the building. Number 1, the point guy, is quite obviously concentrating on the unseen threat, the threat ahead of us as we move. He will be responsible for communicating the presence of any doors up ahead, where they are in relation to the team, whether they're closed or open, and any windows that the team will need to avoid walking in front of. Number 2 in this stack is right on the shoulder of number 1, maintaining similar cover to the front. Number 3 is usually the position of our team leader. He will have his weapon at low port for obvious reasons, and must maintain contact between the front of the group and number 4, because number 4 is our tail end Charlie. He's responsible for covering our 6. This job is not as important as number 1 because we can always assume that where we've come from is safe. However, we must always cover our 6. Moving as a solid unit in tight formation, the team will keep close to the wall when moving along the building in order to maintain some degree of cover. However, we're still vulnerable out in the corridor, so any rooms must be searched and secured, as we may need to use them for cover. As we move up the corridor in this example, we can see a closed door on our left. Number 1 must let the team know this and hold short of the door. At this point, number 1's attention must be on the door and the door only. Number 2 takes over cover to the front. If anyone comes out of the door, it's up to number 1 to take them out. With number 1 covering the door, number 2 will sweep around and head to the opposite side of the door, maintaining cover down the corridor. Number 3 at this point will bring his weapon up and maintain cover on the door, moving around to the far side of number 1. You might need to push number 2 forward in order to get cover away from the door itself. Number 4 will need to make sure that he gets close to the rest of the team while still maintaining the rear cover. Now, for this example, we're going to imagine that this door is an inwards opening door with the handle on the right as we look at it. The process will be slightly different for an outward opening door, or if the handle was on the other side, but this is just basics at the moment. So with the team set up at the door ready to storm in, number 3 at this point would grab the door handle and stand ready to open it. A visible signal rather than a verbal one at this point is a good idea, and a good one is a simple dip of the muzzle of the rifle. That way no one needs to take their eyes off the covered area and you don't need to make any sound. On the signal, number 3 will open and push the door. At this point you are again very vulnerable, so back into the aim. As you see here, the field of view into the room for numbers 1 and 3 from their current positions is very limited, and there could be enemies hidden anywhere in the hidden areas. If number 1 were to run straight into the room as soon as the door opens and head to his right to the corner he cannot see, there could be an enemy standing right in the middle of the room who he would have had no chance against, both himself and number 3 not having seen them at all. Likewise, if number 1 at this point decides to double back on himself and head to the left, he's turning his back on an uncleared area without any protection. The order of business here is for number 1 to slice the pie, inching his way around the door frame by shuffling right carefully until he reaches the centre of the door frame but is still outside the room. By doing this, he has cleared a good portion of the room before he runs straight in, and the only danger areas now are in the far corners. Number 1 will enter across the path of number 3. Now, etiquette here is for number 3 to drop his muzzle slightly as number 1 passes, so as not to have a blue on blue incident. Number 1 heads straight for the corner. As he does so, number 3 will enter the room and head to the opposite side. Number 3 now has most of the remaining part of the room clear, apart from behind the door, which he will clear immediately. Once the room is clear, a verbal signal "clear" will let the other two team members know that they can move closer to the room. Number 4, being available outside in case they need assistance inside the room. And there you have it, simple room entry that is safe and quick. There's various modifications to this system that can be made, and certainly the execution of the entry will be different depending on what type of door you encounter. An example being an open door or a doorless room will be a totally different ball game. However, we hope this has been of some use. Have a go with this technique at your next event and let us know how you get on.